És un plaer presentar a Yuval Harari, un gran intel·lectual que ens ha fet disfrutar molt amb els seus dos últims llibres. I bé, hauríem de començar per agrair la sessió d'aquesta sala i l'organització de Fundació Catalunya de Pedrera per aquesta oportunitat. És la segona vegada que tinc el plaer de fer un debat, una discussió amb Yuval Harari. La primera va ser com a conseqüència del seu primer llibre. Ell és historiador, originalment d'història medieval, curiosament, però ha escrit dos llibres, un interpretant la història, sobretot la història que acaba amb nosaltres, amb l'espècie humana, i aquest segon llibre és la projecció d'això sobre el futur, què passarà amb nosaltres, què passarà amb la humanitat. Ara m'estava dient que la matèria que està explicant ara ja no és història medieval, és història moderna, però un tema que m'ha sorprès tant i tinc tanta empatia amb aquest tema que podríem començar la conversa amb ell. Està estudiant la relació que hi ha hagut en general entre els humans i els animals. Bé, això serà potser una bona introducció per començar. Bé, podríem començar amb aquesta idea, no? Em sembla que és en l'últim llibre que dones uns números sobre com ha evolucionat la vida i la diversitat animal en el món, i actualment pràcticament podem dir que pràcticament només queden animals domèstics, els nostres esclaus, i que els animals de la diversitat espontània estan amb un trist d'acabar-se. Això ja està com hem arribat aquí, perquè al principi érem caçadors i recol·lectors d'una manera espontània, va començar una gran revolució que per tu és una tragèdia, ja irreversible, com és la revolució agrícola, i a partir d'aquí, i amb l'autorització dels textos sagrats, ens hem fet els amos del món. Tenim fins i tot una frase amb les escritures que ens dona llicència i autoritat per dominar els animals. Bé, aquí som especialment sensibles sobre aquest tema per un debat actual que hi ha sobre el maltractament dels animals. Com veus aquesta història d'una espècie que tenim la tendència que es quedarà sola en aquest món?
Well, I think that looking at the long history of human-animal relations, you can say that Homo sapiens is a serial killer as far as other animals are concerned. It's not a new phenomenon. Already before the agricultural revolution, when we were just hunter-gatherers with stone tools, our ancestors already drove to extinction about half of all the big land mammals. In places like Australia, it was more than 90% of the big animals. In America, it was about 70%. And since the agricultural revolution, it's just been accelerating. So that today, if you look at the large animals of the planet, more than 90% of them are either humans or the farm animals that we have domesticated and enslaved to our own needs and desires. If you just count how many animals are there, so elephants, for example, you have something like 500,000 elephants remaining in the world. You have something like 40,000 lions, 80,000 giraffes, a few thousand rhinoceroses. If you look on television at National Geographic, or you read a fairy tale, or you watch a Disney movie, then you would think that the whole world is just full of elephants and dolphins and crocodiles, but they are not there. They are just on television, not in the real world. There are just a few thousand remaining of them, and you compare that to the farm animals, you have 1.5 billion cows and bulls today in the world. You have 1 billion domesticated pigs. If you consider birds, So if you count all the penguins in the North Pole, in the South Pole, you have 50 million penguins remaining, which sounds a lot. Until you compare that to chickens, you have 50 billion chickens in the world today. You have 1,000 chickens for every penguin. And
això em recorda que si algun dia ens reunim tots en el paradís, la cara que posaran els pollastres no tindrà pèrdua.
Yeah, definitely. And because, I mean, it's not just the numbers, it's also the way that we treat them. We basically treat the farm animals as if they are just insensitive machines for producing meat and milk and eggs for us. And many people, when they are confronted by the way that we treat the farm animals, one very common answer that you get is they don't feel anything. Pigs or chickens, they don't have emotions, they don't feel pain. And this is, at least today, as far as science is concerned, this is complete nonsense. There is, I think, almost complete consensus in the biological sciences that all mammals and all birds, and even probably some reptiles and fish, they are conscious, they are sentient, they have emotions, they can certainly feel pain and pleasure. They also have emotional world. They can feel basic emotions like fear, like anger, like love. These are not something unique to humans. This is common to all mammals and birds. The other common argument that people try to justify how we treat other animals is to say, yes, they can feel pain and love and whatever, but we are far more intelligent. And intelligence is really what counts. And because we are much more intelligent, we can do to them whatever we want. And there are many problems with this argument, ethical problems, but in the 21st century, I think the biggest problem is what it means for the future of our species, because very soon we will have entities on this planet who are more intelligent than us. So if the fact that you're more intelligent gives you free license, it will start turning against us.
Deixa'm que t'expliqui una experiència recent que m'ha recordat una de les fotografies que estan al teu llibre. Passejant per al Museu Hermitage a Sant Petersburg, vaig passar per una sala en què hi havia un relleu assiri, de Síria, en què es veia un rei executant un lleó, com demostrant la força. El lleó és el símbol de la força i l'humà carregant-se, assassinant el lleó. No per menjar-se, clarament, sinó per una actitud de superioritat. 2 sales més enllà veig un quadre de la Croix, que està fet al segle XIX. Delacroix va visitar el Marroc i va fer una pintura que el títol em sembla que és La caça del lleó al Marroc. I es veu una escena molt semblant alguns mil·lennis més tard, la qual cosa demostra la identitat de la condició humana. Allà es veu 2 natius que maten un lleó de l'Atles. El lleó de l'Atles ja està extingit. Era un lleó amb una melena negra fantàstica que fins als anys 20 encara hi havia en la cordillera de l'Atles. Quan els humans parlaven del rei de la selva, clar, és que encara hi havia lleons al bosc, ara ja estan tots a la sabana, ja no hi ha a la selva. I em sembla que al zoo del Marroc encara queden alguns híbrids que presumeixen que tenen encara gens del lleó de l'Atles. O sigui que és una idea de com la història de l'art mostra aquesta història de carregar-se els animals no per necessitat, sinó senzillament per divertir-se. I això té molt a veure amb les festes que fem a països com el nostre. Ànecs estrangulats, braus, que afortunadament a Catalunya ja no existeixen. És difícil trobar una festa hi ha, em sembla, 800 municipis al país en el qual la diversió és matar o sacrificar algun animal per diversió. Bé, això parlarem més tard sobre aquesta idea, però sí que és important reflexionar de que si d'alguna manera existeix un progrés moral en aquest aspecte, no està en cap teoria de la moral ni en cap organització que pensi sobre el que és bo i el que és dolent, sinó més aviat el temps ha passat i les coses van canviant per una altra raó. Bé, podem passar a un altre tema, perquè hi ha dues idees molt fortes del teu primer llibre. És de dir, no puc deixar de dir, que llegir en Yuval és un espectacle de la intel·ligència. És un goig intel·lectual realment increïble, jo crec que per moltes coses, per la prosa fluida, però sobretot perquè jo no he vist cap altre pensador que tingui menys prejudicis. És un prejudicicida, és a dir, es carrega els prejudicis amb una naturalitat realment impressionant. I bé, aquesta primera idea, hi ha dues idees molt fortes i m'agradaria conversar sobre dues d'elles. La primera és aquesta obsessió de trobar una distinció entre l'ésser humà i els animals, una frontera que em deixi a mi en un pla superior, no evita pensar, buscar quina és l'essència de la humanitat, quina és la diferència. I la millor que he trobat és una poc utilitzada, jo només l'he sentit amb Yuval, i és la idea del llenguatge. Millor que ho expliquis tu, però de totes maneres m'agradaria que expliquessis l'anècdota, l'exemple de per què els neandertals van desaparèixer enfront de l'Homo sapiens si els més forts hi tenien fins i tot més cervell, perquè d'aquesta idea és on surt la gran diferència entre el món animal i l'ésser humà. Té a veure amb el llenguatge, crec, no?
Yes, basically we can say that humans control the world because we are the only animal that can cooperate flexibly in very large numbers. Other animals like ants cooperate in large numbers, but they don't have flexibility. They do the same thing again and again and again for millions of years. You have more flexible cooperation among chimpanzees, among wolves, among elephants, but they can cooperate only in very small number, a couple of dozen individuals. And this was also true of Neanderthals. Neanderthals could cooperate in small numbers, maybe 50, maybe 60, 70 Neanderthals could cooperate. Our ancestors defeated and exterminated the Neanderthals and conquered the world because they could cooperate in thousands, and today we cooperate in billions. And the big question is what enables us to cooperate very flexibly with so many strangers, millions, even billions of strangers. And the answer is our unique language, and in particular, our ability to create fiction. At the basis of every large-scale human cooperation, you always find some fictional story. It's most obvious in the case of religion, which is, again, unique to humans. You can never convince chimpanzees to come together and fight against the neighboring chimpanzee tribe by promising the chimpanzees that if you're killed in combat, after you die, after the other chimpanzees kill you, you go to chimpanzee heaven, and there you receive lots and lots of bananas and beautiful chimpanzee girls, so sacrifice your life for this war. No chimpanzee will be willing to do such a thing, which is why chimpanzees, they don't have religions, they don't build churches and mosques, they don't have religious wars. They have conflicts, but not about such things. And it's true not only of religion, it's true of all other kinds of large-scale cooperation. If you think about the modern economy, it is also based on fictional stories and fictional entities, corporations like Google, like McDonald's, like Toyota. They are just a fictional story. they are not an objective reality, a physical or a biological reality. They are what lawyers call a legal fiction. It's a story that we invent, and as long as everybody believes it, it works. And not only corporations, but probably the most successful story ever told is money, because it's the only story everybody believes. Not everybody believes in God, and not everybody believes in nationalism, but everybody believes in money and in the same money, even though, again, it's just a fictional story. If you take a euro or a dollar, I mean, you can't do anything with it. You can't eat it, you can't drink it. Today, most money is not even pieces of paper. It's just electronic data in computers. But as long as everybody believes in it, it works. I can take this worthless piece of paper, go to a complete stranger in a supermarket, I never met before, give him this piece of paper, and in exchange, he will give me real bananas that I can actually eat. Now, this is something you can't do with chimpanzees. Chimpanzees exchange things like, OK, I'll give you a coconut, you'll give me a banana, it can work. But you give me a piece of paper, you expect me to give you bananas in return, no chimpanzee will agree to such a deal. So in this way, you can say that all large-scale human cooperation is really based on this ability of our imagination to create fictions and to spread them around and to convince everybody to believe in the fiction.
Independentment de si és veritat o és mentida. Fins i tot les mentides poden funcionar perfectament. Mentides incloses. Even lying, I mean.
Well, there is a difference between lies and fiction. A lie is when you know something is not true and you say it is. Slow down.
Okay.
A fiction is when it's not about reality at all. It's about something which is not part of reality except in our language. Something like God or nation or corporation, it's not a lie to say that there is an Israeli nation or there is a Spanish nation. It's just something of a completely different kind of reality.
Però vull dir que no és necessari que sigui veritat.
Certainly. I mean, to be successful, a fiction doesn't need to be true at all. Some of the most successful stories in history have nothing to do with the truth. Scientists often have this fantasy that in the end, the truth always is more powerful. But you look at history, it doesn't work like that. If you look at the big religions, for example, to be a very successful religion, your story doesn't have to be true. And it's the same on a smaller scale today. Like I went with my nephew to hunt for Pokemons in Israel. Is Pokemon big in Spain? Yeah. So for me, it was kind of a revelation. I mean, these Pokemons, it's just like a religion. Because, you know, you walk around the town and you don't see any Pokemons. There are no Pokemons. But then you have this mobile phone. You take out your smartphone and you look through the story, and suddenly the whole place is crawling with Pokemons. And like my nephew, he's 7 years old. So he sees a Pokemon, and there is another kid on the street. He also sees the same Pokemon, and they start fighting about who gets to trap this Pokemon. And for me, it's just like, you know, the Jews and the Muslims fighting about Jerusalem. Because you look, and there is nothing there. I mean, there is no holy city, there is no angels, there is no holy places. But then you take out the book, and you look at reality through the book, and suddenly the whole place is full of angels and demons and holy places. And you start fighting about this holy place. Everybody wants the holy place to himself.
Sí, sí. No, però tornem a la idea, amb aquesta mateixa idea, crec que una bona aplicació és quan expliques com és que l'Homo sapiens va extingir, va sobreviure al neandertalensis. I va ser justament perquè va inventar ficcions per aconseguir la cooperació de grups més grans, no? Perquè un sapiens amb un neandertal guanyava sempre el neandertal, però els neandertals mai passaven de grups petits, en canvi els sapiens sí que van passar. Això arriba fins als nostres dies, perquè les cadenes de televisió que tenen més audiència són les que es dediquen a inventar ficcions, xafardeigs, revistes del cor. Tot això té arrels molt profundes amb el nostre passat més antic. Molt bé, jo crec que tot està preparat per parlar de religió, perquè també aquí, quan pensem en la religió, pensem en unes creences, en una divinitat o diverses divinitats, però la millor definició que he trobat de religió també ha estat la definició de Yuval Harari. Els que no la coneixeu, us podeu preparar a sentir la definició definitiva de què és una religió. És un concepte més ampli del que pensem en general, però veurem de seguida que té moltes aplicacions per poder interpretar la humanitat actual. Professor Harari, què és la religió? Primera pregunta. I segona pregunta, podem viure sense religió? Que també és una pregunta important. Sí, què és una religió segons la seva definició? I després, segons aquesta definició, podem viure sense cap religió?
Well, religion is a story that legitimizes human values and norms. And in particular, it is the belief in supernatural laws that give legitimacy to human laws and to human values and norms. Now, a belief not in superhuman laws that give legitimacy to human laws and values and norms. Now, superhuman laws come in two kinds. Some religions believe in natural superhuman laws, and some religions believe in laws that come not from nature, but from God, or from many gods. But the essence is that you believe that there are some rules and laws in the universe that humans did not invent, and therefore humans cannot change, and our ethics, our politics, our economics are supposed to reflect these superhuman laws. So the idea is that how to convince humans to behave in a particular way. If you tell them, you have to behave like this because I said so, so they won't follow you. If you say you have to behave like this because several people said so, okay, so they think like that, I think otherwise. It's not stable. To bring stability to human society, it was always necessary to appeal to some authority which is higher than the opinions and wishes of humans. So it comes, as I said, in two shapes. Either you appeal to God and gods and angels and so forth, or you appeal to natural laws. Like if you think about modern religions or modern ideologies, they don't like to be called religions, they prefer the term ideology, but it's the same thing. If you think about something like communism or like fascism or even like liberalism, so they don't say, Marx doesn't say that the laws come from the God. No, but he believes in a set of natural laws, the laws of history and the laws of the economy, that humans cannot change and cannot break. Hitler came with a set of other laws which come from biology. He basically based his view on a misconception, on a misrepresentation of Darwinism, of natural selection, but his ethical views, according to Nazism, they are not Hitler's invention. He simply reflects the laws of nature. And if, according to Nazism, if we don't follow these laws, we will be extinct, we will be exterminated. So this is the basic idea of religion, which is common to ancient religions and to modern ideologies, to base human laws and norms and values on something which is higher, on a story about laws that come from above. And your second question was whether we can live, we can create...
But before you continue, abans de continuar, segons aquesta definició, jo penso que és bona perquè qualsevol cosa no és una religió. Per exemple, la física quàntica no seria una religió perquè, per un dels aspectes de la definició, i és que no recomana comportaments humans encara que sigui una força de la naturalesa. O les regles del futbol tampoc, perquè pots canviar les regles. És a dir, que és una definició que defineix, descarta el que no és religió. Però passem a la segona, perquè hi ha una cosa que em preocupa del llibre, és que al final l'humanisme o el liberalisme també és una religió i el dadisme, del que parlarem al final, també el relaciones amb una religió. Però passem a aquest comentari. Podem viure sense algun sistema que ens recomani com cooperar o com amalgamar els individus amb una individualitat superior. Jo crec que aquest és el problema social més important, que som individus que tenim dos tipus d'identitat, una individual i una col·lectiva. I quan hi ha massa d'una o massa de l'altra, la cosa es desequilibra, no?
Well, at least so far, we are not familiar with any human society that managed to maintain itself without some kind of religion or ideology or story that legitimizes the human laws and norms. So I don't think it's possible to organize large-scale human cooperation without it. I mean, a small-scale cooperation, it's possible. 10 people, 100 people can organize their cooperation just by knowing each other and and agreeing on the common rules. But when you come to millions of people, then it becomes utterly impossible. And we should recognize the fact that even modern liberalism and humanism, they are also based on some fictional story. The idea, maybe the most important idea that sustains them, is the idea of human rights. But human rights are a fictional story, just like the stories about God and heaven. They are not more real than heaven. They have no basis in biological reality. If you look at a Homo sapiens, at a human being, you don't find any rights on the biological level. There are no rights inscribed in our DNA in letters of A, C, G, and T. If you cut open a human being and look inside, you find the lungs and the heart and the kidneys. You don't find any rights. The idea that all humans have rights and the same rights, it's just a story that people began to believe and circulate not very long time ago, just 2 or 3 centuries ago. Now, I think it's a very positive story. I mean, not all stories are the same. For me, the yardstick to judge stories is the amount of suffering that they cause or prevent. Some stories, some fictional stories, cause far more suffering than others. And from a historical perspective, the story of liberalism has been one of the best stories we had throughout history, but it doesn't make it a reality. And this is very important to realize in the 21st century, because this story seems to be coming to an end, seems to be reaching a point in which it will collapse and will no longer be able to serve as the basis for human society, and we will need a different story, a new story to do it.
Bueno, com a mínim poder canviar la història, penso que és important, no? Tenir la possibilitat de canviar. El problema és que no podem canviar la religió, sinó de religió. Aquesta és la idea, no?
Well, religions keep changing all the time. People imagine that traditional religions remain the same, that they are eternal and unchanging, but this is completely not true. Religions like Christianity and Islam and Judaism, they are in a constant process of change. Christianity or Judaism today is completely different from what it was 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. If you, for example, read the Old Testament, the Bible, and you compare that to Judaism today, it's a completely different religion. There are some continuities, there are some ceremonies, some beliefs that have persisted for more than 2,000 years, but they are actually a minor part of the religion. If you look, for example, at Judaism today, maybe the most important thing in Judaism today is the study of the Old Testament, of the Torah, of the Talmud. Back in biblical time, nobody studied the Bible and the Talmud because it didn't exist. They were written and they were compiled only afterwards. There were no yeshivas back in biblical time. I mean, the life of Jews today and the life of Jews 3,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago is completely different. And as we look to the future, to the 21st century, so it's very likely that the traditional religions, if they want to survive, they will have to go on changing and adapting to the new realities of the 21st century. And also, it's very likely that we will see the emergence of completely new religions in the same way that the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century made most previous religions and ideologies obsolete and necessitated the creation of completely new ideologies like communism and like fascism and like liberalism. So also in the 21st century, the old ideologies that we have inherited from the 20th century, including socialism and liberalism, they will be obsolete. And in the 21st century, we will probably see the creation and spread of completely new ideologies and religions. My bet is that the most interesting place today in the world from a religious perspective is not the Middle East, but Silicon Valley. And that the new religions of the 21st century will emerge from Silicon Valley and from places like that. And they will be techno-religions, religions that are based on technology and not on belief in new technology and not on belief in supernatural gods or something like that. They make all the traditional promises. They also promise happiness and justice and eternal life and paradise, but here on earth, with the help of technology, and not after you die, with the help of supernatural beings.
Ara arribarem a aquest tema, però abans d'arribar, tu parles en el teu llibre de que la teoria de la relativitat, per exemple, no inquieta a cap religió, en canvi totes estan contra l'evolució i el darwinisme. Aquí parlem una mica d'aquesta fricció entre la ciència i la religió. Jo no sé si estàs d'acord o no, però la ciència té una lògica que es basa més en el que és veritat i el que és fals, i la ciència més en el que és bo i el que no és bo. I si cada un es dedica a lo seu, doncs no hi ha problema. El problema és quan la religió fa un paquet complet, compacte, on està tot el coneixement i tots els problemes i tot el sentit del cosmos, i es fica també, s'ha ficat tradicionalment, dintre del que és veritat i el que és fals. Clar, arriba un moment que les coses no encaixen, no? I al revés, la ciència que parla de lo que és veritat i el que és fals té molta dificultat per dir el que és bo i el que és dolent. Més del que sembla, perquè hi ha el concepte de l'esperit del temps, del que parlava Hegel, de que les coses si canvien és perquè es van acumulant, encara que molt lentament, coneixements que fan canviar el sentit del que és bo i el que és dolent, no? Què penses d'aquesta fricció que encara continua i molt dura en alguns països, no?
Well, I think that some people say that religion is about value judgments, ethical judgments, and science is about facts, factual judgments, so there really is no conflict between them. And this is true to some extent, But the problem is that very often they get mixed up, as you say. Religions are not just value judgments. They always include some factual statements about the world. And the problem is that they tend to elevate these factual statements to the level of ethical commitments. They state a certain fact, but then they demand absolute belief in this fact, even though it's a factual statement, not an ethical judgment. Like if you say that the Bible represents the word of God that created the universe, this is not a value judgment. This is a factual statement. And like other factual statements, it should be open to scientific inquiry, whether it's true or not. We know how, we have many tools to find out how texts were composed and how old they are. But if you believe in a religion, say like Judaism, you have to accept the divine origin of the Bible as an article of faith. So this is one way in which they get mixed up, when religions take factual statements and turn them into articles of faith, which you are not allowed to question. But there is also the opposite trend of science beginning to leaving aside the questions of facts and beginning to try and give ethical guidance to people in their life. And this, I think, will become more and more dominant in the 21st century as authority will increasingly shift away from humans to computers and to big data algorithms. And more we will come to expect these big data algorithms to give us answers to the big and small questions of our life, including to things that involve value judgments. I think this is maybe the most important ideological and political transformation of the 21st century will be this shift in authority from humans to algorithms and to computers. And I'll give an example or two examples for how this works. So I'll start with something simple and almost banal, how you choose a book to read. What is a good book? So 1,000 years ago, you had an external authority which told you what was a good book. The church said that the Bible was a good book, read the Bible. If you want to read a book, read the Bible, it is the best book. Then we had the rise of humanism in the last 2 or 3 centuries with the belief that human free will and human feelings are the highest source of authority. And when it comes to choosing books, and like in so many other things, they told people just follow your own heart, just follow your feelings. How do you choose a good book? You go to a bookshop, you wander between the shelves, you take this book and that book, you read a little, and you feel connected to some book. You find that you're very interested in a particular book, you take it, you buy it, you read it. Now we have Amazon. You go to the Amazon online bookstore, and an algorithm pops up and tells me, hey, I know you. I follow what books you read in the past, which books you enjoyed, which books you did not enjoy. And based on what I know about you, and based on what I know about statistics, about millions of other readers, I'm telling you that people like you, they will really enjoy this particular book.
Google m'ha recomanat els meus propis llibres, els que jo escric. Em sembla que t'interessaran.
Well, that's not surprising. But this is just the beginning. The next stage, which we are already entering, is that if in the past people read books, now books are starting to read people. If you read a book on Kindle, I read it on Kindle. So while I'm reading the book reads me. Kindle knows when I'm reading, it knows which pages I read fast, which pages I read slow, and when I stop reading a book. And this gives Kindle, which means Amazon, some information about what I like, what I dislike. But already today, you can connect Kindle to applications that recognize facial expressions, that recognize emotions by analyzing facial expressions. So if you add this application to Kindle, then Kindle can know when you're crying, when you're laughing, when you're angry, when you're bored, what was the emotional impact of what you read on yourself. In 10 years or 20 years, you could connect Kindle to biometric sensors on your body or even inside your body. We already have biometric sensors that people wear in armbands or in shoes that constantly measure their blood pressure, their heart rate, their sugar level in the blood. And using such biometric data, Kindle, which means Amazon, will be able to know exactly what is the emotional impact of every sentence you read in the book. And based on that knowledge, it will be able to recommend to you not only what books to read, but a million other things. It will understand you and your emotions and your personality much better than your husband or your wife or even yourself. Most of what I read in the books, I forget very quickly. But Amazon will never forget anything. All this data will just keep accumulating. And what starts as an algorithm that tells you which books to read will very soon be able to tell you what to study at university, what to vote in the elections, and whom to marry. Maybe the biggest question on a personal level that every individual faces in life is whether to marry and whom to marry. So again, in the past, you had external authority. Your parents chose your spouse for you, and the priests made sure that everything is okay, like two men won't marry each other. Then came humanism and says to people, forget about your parents, forget about the priests, just follow your heart. Just follow your own feelings. Now, very soon we'll reach a point when they tell people, oh, forget about your feelings, ask Google or ask Amazon. They know you much better than you know yourself. Let's say that your girlfriend or boyfriend tell you, okay, I want to get married. Either you marry me or I'm leaving you. So you have to make a choice. Now, if humanism tells you, okay, just try to connect your authentic self and see what you're feeling about it, so now people will say, okay, I'll ask Google what to do. And you'll come to Google and say, Google, my girlfriend wants to marry me. Should I marry her or not? And Google will tell you, well, I know you very well. I've read all your emails you ever wrote. I've followed every book you ever read, every film you ever saw. I constantly monitor you with all these biometric sensors. I constantly monitor you. I know you much better than you know yourself. And I also know your girlfriend much better than you know her, because I've been following her at the same time that I'm following you. And I have statistics about millions and millions of relationships, successful and unsuccessful. And based on all these data, and based on all my statistics, I'm telling you with a probability of 85% that you should marry her. In the long run, you'll be very satisfied with it.
Bueno, en realitat, bona part de la salut ja funciona així. Bona part de la medicina ja està funcionant d'aquesta manera, que són gran quantitat de dades que diuen que recomanen un tractament i sabem que és efectiu, encara que encara no comprenem què és el que està passant. No?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have a problem, let's say, I don't know, you have cancer and you want to know what kind of treatment, you don't ask your feelings. You ask basically algorithms based on statistics that, again, statistics about your body, about your genetics, about your health, and statistics about millions of other people. In the field of medicine, we are already beyond humanism. We don't base medical decisions on our feelings and free will and free choices. That's long gone. In the field of medicine, we are already dataist. We believe big data algorithms and not our own feelings. In the coming decades, this will probably happen in more and more fields of life. I gave the example of what book to buy and whom to marry. It's the same when you apply to a job. Today I apply to a new job, so my potential boss tells me, okay, send me your CV. And if it looks okay, then he invites me to an interview and asks me questions and tries to evaluate me based on this interview. In 20 years or 30 years, this will be completely primitive system to choose a worker. They will tell me, don't bother sending your CV, send us your DNA. And also allow us complete access to your Facebook account. And our algorithms will analyze your DNA and all the information in your Facebook account. We don't need an interview. We have so much more data about you. And so in this sense, as I said earlier, authority will be shifting away from humans to big data algorithms. And in the end, we started with the question of religion. Religion, in the end, is all about authority. Where does authority comes from? And in the 21st century, the big religious revolution, the revolution in the source of authority, will be this: the shifting of authority away from humans and their feelings to big data algorithms and their calculations.
És una religió, llavors, el dadisme. Amb la teva definició de religió entraria el dadisme perfectament, no? El dadisme com tractar les dades directament sense passar per una comprensió.
Yes, exactly. Dataism, in a way, would be a bit like going back, because 1,000 years ago, people believed in an authority above the clouds. And then during the modern era, authority came down to humans. And now authority will go back to the clouds, to the Microsoft cloud, to the Google cloud. We don't understand why the algorithm made this decision. We just follow what the algorithm is telling us. And again, it's already happening. Like, to give an example from a completely different area of life, police. So every morning in a police station, one of the things you have to do is tell policemen, police officers, where to patrol today. Until today, this was the job of a very experienced police officer, that based on his 30 years of service, he would tell this policeman, okay, you patrol here, you patrol there. Now you have, at least in the US, in certain police stations, they are giving these jobs to algorithms that analyze crime patterns. And they tell the policeman, okay, today you patrol this street and you patrol this neighborhood. Why? Nobody knows. The algorithm decides. And in the end, it's an empirical question. If it works, if crime goes down, then you just believe the algorithm. Now, of course, there are drawbacks or problems with this, because it can, for example, create a phenomenon that experts call, how do you say in English? Genetic discrimination, or individual discrimination. In the 20th century, discrimination was usually group discrimination. Like somebody doesn't like Muslims, or somebody doesn't like Jews, or somebody doesn't like Africans. So if I hire somebody for a job and a Muslim from Africa comes, I don't hire him or her because he's a Muslim, he's an African, I don't want them. So this was group discrimination. And this was considered in many places unethical and illegal. And you could take action against it because, say, a discriminated minority everybody could come together and unite against discrimination and vote in elections and do demonstrations and things like that. In the 21st century, when algorithms choose whom to hire for a job, you never know why the algorithm didn't take me. And the algorithm will discriminate against me, not because I'm Muslim or because I'm African, but because I'm me. There is something about me that the algorithm doesn't like, something about my DNA, something about my history, and it's only me. There is nobody else in the world that has the same DNA or has the same Facebook account and the same history. So I can't unite with other people like me against this discrimination because I'm the only one that has this particular discrimination.
Deixa'm introduir aquí dos o tres qüestions matemàtiques que tenen a veure amb això. Una és que, en matemàtiques sempre hi ha algú que ha pensat sobre aquest tema i sobretot, fins i tot sobre aquest tema dels algoritmes, hi ha tota una teoria de la informació que, si tens raó, passarà a la primera fila. Hi ha, per exemple, dues grans teories de la informació. Una de Shannon, que és la teoria de la informació clàssica, i una altra que és la de Chaitin-Kolmogorov, no sé si s'ha sentit parlar, però que diu que comprendre és el mínim algoritme, és la longitud i el mínim algoritme capaç de reproduir una observació, sigui l'observació que sigui, és a dir, un conjunt de dades que fins i tot en principi poden ser caòtiques. Això influeix en el que és el mètode científic. Està influint ja, tens raó, perquè la meteorologia també va d'aquesta manera. Els meteoròlegs ja no tenen en compte directament les lleis de la física, de la termodinàmica, sinó que són simuladors que agafen el passat immediat i el projecten cap endavant. Seria també una qüestió de tractament de dades. Però comprendre que fins ara era mirar què hi ha de comú entre coses diferents i això que hi ha en comú és el que nosaltres anomenem comprensió. Per exemple, la segona llei de Newton és el que tenen en comú tots els moviments. Llavors, a partir d'aquí podem comprendre qualsevol moviment. És a dir, de la comprensió de la llei aplicada podem estudiar qualsevol cas particular. Això s'ha capgirat totalment ara, perquè el que fem és, sense comprendre el que està passant, fem l'algoritme de les dades, com fan els metges, i el preocupar-se després per què hi ha a comprendre és quelcom que és a posteriori. Primer tenim la capacitat d'anticipar la incertesa i algun dia ja comprendrem per què succeeix. Això vol dir que el mètode científic està canviant totalment. Ara, hi ha un altre teorema, aquest va a favor d'aquesta teoria, és a dir, que si tens raó, hi ha tota una base matemàtica preparada per aplicar-la. Però hi ha una altra que no està tan clara, i és la idea de que els algoritmes, al final, o els ordenadors, seran capaços de decidir per ells mateixos. A la ciència-ficció, com dius, s'ha utilitzat molt, sobretot hi ha dues escenes que em venen al cap. Una és Odissea 2000, aquell ordenador que no es deixa desendollar. Això ha donat un pas endavant molt gran perquè té emocions. O s'enamora, o quan un ordenador et declara el seu amor, vol dir que ja és per inquietar-se. O si no es deixa desendollar, vol dir que ja té emocions i que té una manera de decidir que pot anar, com moltes pel·lícules de ficció fan, establir fins i tot una guerra amb els humans de debò. Què és el que passa també amb Blade Runner, no? Al principi de Blade Runner, aquell interrogatori que hi ha al principi de la pel·lícula, descobreix que no és un humà també per el criteri de Turing, de saber si pot mantenir una conversa o no pot mantenir una conversa. I quan li parla de la seva mare, treu una pistola i el mata perquè no estava amb el seu programa la idea de mare. És a dir, que la idea de que els ordenadors actuals, es diguien, els actuals són ordenadors que no poden trencar les seves pròpies regles mai encara. Jo no sé si un ordenador com aquest, un sistema d'algoritmes com aquest, pot prendre les decisions fins al punt en el que dius tu, no? Perquè, hi ha un teorema dintre de la matemàtica, que és el teorema de Gödel, que es pot aplicar aquí, perquè un sistema algorítmic, un sistema informàtic, està basat en un número finit d'instruccions. I el que diu el teorema de Gödel és que sempre hi ha veritats dintre d'aquest sistema que no es poden demostrar si no surts del sistema. Per posar un exemple, hi ha propietats dels números reals que si no te'n vas als números complexes, doncs pots demostrar. Una altra cosa són els ordenadors quàntics, que encara no sabem com funcionen, o els ordenadors biològics. Però el perill o la possibilitat, perquè no té per què ser perillós, al contrari, si no hi ha una guerra, sinó que hi ha una harmonia, això pot ser fins i tot beneficiós, és quelcom que jo crec, personalment, que no falten ni 100 anys ni 200, sinó segurament més, perquè hi ha una dificultat essencial. Leibniz, Whitehead, molts han volgut fer un sistema global de coneixements que ho tingui tot, no? O les supercordes actualment, la teoria del tot. Jo penso que són idees que un teorema com el teorema de Gödel trenca la possibilitat aquesta, no?
Yeah, but the system doesn't need to be perfect or to know everything. It just needs to be better than humans. And this is far easier. To take, again, a concrete example, like driving. 10 years ago, people thought that it take thousands of years for computers to reach a point when they can drive a car, not in sterile conditions in the laboratory, but in real-life conditions outside. And now it is expected that within, say, 10 years, computers will be able to drive cars better than humans under real-life conditions. Now, they won't be perfect. They'll make mistakes. There will be accidents with very complicated legal procedures, because who do you sue when a self-driving car runs you over? Do you sue the owner of the car? Do you sue the computer scientists who designed the code? Who do you sue? But for human drivers to be replaced by self-driving cars, you don't need perfection. You just need it to be better than humans, and this is not so very difficult because, especially when it comes to safety, every year 1.3 million people are killed in car accidents. That's twice the number of people who are killed by war, crime, and terrorism put together. And the vast majority of these car accidents are caused by human error. Somebody who drinks alcohol and drives, somebody who falls asleep at the wheel, somebody who tries to text a message while driving. Artificial intelligence driving cars will be much, much better. It will never drink alcohol and drive. It will never fall asleep while driving. It can text messages while driving, but it doesn't, it won't cause any accidents. So it is likely that within 10, 20, 30 years, humans will be replaced by AI when it comes to driving. And this brings us back also to the ethical dimension, because once you give a computer to drive a car, the computer will have to start making ethical decisions as well. Let's say you're driving your car, the car is driving, takes a sharp turn, and suddenly in the middle of the road, you have 5 pedestrians.
Però el que volia dir és que sempre necessitarem una ment humana per canviar les regles. Afortunadament, jo crec. Per canviar les regles sempre necessitarem una ment humana.
In the beginning, you need a human mind to write the rules, but already today with machine learning, the AI starts to develop in ways which the human mind that designed it in the first place cannot understand. The best example we got in recent months is the victory of AlphaGo over Lee Sedol at the game of Go. Go is a kind of Chinese chess, but much, much more complicated than chess.
Go, yeah.
And it was estimated before the game, the experts at Go said there is no way that an AI, a computer, can defeat a human master at Go. It takes intuition, it takes all kinds of things that only humans have. And then there was this big match between AlphaGo, the computer program, and Lee Sedol, the Korean Go champion. And AlphaGo won decisively, 4-1. But the really interesting thing was that when the experts, human experts of Go, analyzed the way that AlphaGo played, they were amazed because it employed strategies and tricks that no human being ever thought about employing. And their conclusion after this single game is that it's over. There is no way that humans will be able to compete with AI at Go. And nobody taught AlphaGo how to play. In contrast to the famous game 20 years ago between Garry Kasparov and Deep Blue, Deep Blue was taught how to play chess. AlphaGo was not taught how to play Go. The engineers that created it only gave it the barest minimum of the laws of the game, what is allowed and what is not allowed, and that's it. And how to play the game, how to win, what strategies to employ, AlphaGo learned by itself by playing millions and millions of games against itself. And from this perspective, the mind, the human mind, yes, it designed AlphaGo, but then AlphaGo started to do things that no human mind told it to do and that no human mind understands. Now, it is very crucial to emphasize, like what you said, that AlphaGo and all other artificial intelligence and computers, they don't have consciousness, they don't have desires, they don't have emotions, they are artificial intelligence, they are not artificial consciousness. This, I think, is the biggest difference between science fiction and science. In science fiction, the plot of the movie, of the book, always revolves around the artificial intelligence gaining consciousness and having emotions and falling in love with a scientist or whatever. In reality, in science, there is just artificial intelligence. There is no artificial consciousness. In the last 60, 70 years, there has been a tremendous progress in artificial intelligence. There has been zero progress in artificial consciousness. Computers in the days of Turing had no emotions, and computers today have no emotions, and it seems that 50 years from now, computers still won't have emotions, but that will not prevent them from replacing humans in more and more jobs, and that will not necessarily prevent authority from shifting to the algorithms, because you don't necessarily need emotions to make the kind of decisions that we would want the computers to make for us.
No, volia dir exactament això, que és més fàcil guanyar a Kasparov amb una partida d'escacs que simular una conversa, per exemple, que sembla una cosa senzilla. Això és realment difícil i és la definició de tenir o no consciència. Amb això arribem a la part més, el salt més fort que fas, que és parlar de la immortalitat. Per aquesta via, segons Yuval, tinc un plaer en comunicar que podem, s'obre la porta de la immortalitat, s'obre la porta de la felicitat, és a dir, que d'alguna manera tornem al somni primer de ser déus, d'arribar a aspirar a la divinitat, d'alguna manera. Fins a quin punt això és literal, és seriós, és una broma o no? Perquè, orgànicament sabem, amb una frase molt senzilla, direm que viure envelleix. És una frase de només 2 paraules, és a dir, és veritat que jo no tinc en aquest moment ni un sol àtom de quan vaig néixer i, malgrat això, em considero que sóc jo mateix. És a dir, que més que la matèria és l'algoritme del meu organisme el que és important. I, en principi, l'algoritme pot ser etern. Però, això serà una elit mínima. El disseny del paisatge del futur, si això succeeix, serà, capgirarà totes les nostres sensacions i totes les nostres ètiques i tots els nostres pensaments, perquè una cosa és travessar el passeig de Gràcia perquè és un risc, et poden atropellar, el màxim que pots perdre és la vida, però si penses que pots perdre l'eternitat, tu penses 2 cops més abans de creuar el passeig de Gràcia. És a dir que tot està ple de problemes filosòfics que no s'han presentat mai fins ara. Hi ha hagut autors com Borges, per exemple, que deia l'eternitat, que tenien por de l'eternitat. Millor no ser Té una por terrible a no divertir-se massa durant una eternitat. Però en quin sentit dius que serem eterns? Serem nosaltres mateixos? Serà el nostre algoritme que viatjarà per al món? En quin sentit serem? Ens interessa molt la immortalitat.
Well, the question of immortality is now moving from science fiction to science, from mythology to reality. Throughout history, humans always fantasized about immortality and didn't want to die, but they had to postpone their hopes for immortality to a fictional existence after death. Yes, you die, and after you die, you go to heaven or to hell, and then you live forever. Now, it's moving to the realm of science and of economics. First of all, it should be emphasized that when scientists and entrepreneurs are now talking about immortality, they don't think that you'll take a pill and live to be 1 million. Few people would like to do it. Few people understand what it means to live to be 1 million. What they have in mind is that every 10 years, they'll come to you and they ask, do you want to live another 10 years in good health? Most people will say, yes, I want to live another 10 years in good health. And when these 10 years are over, again they will come and say, okay, do you want another 10 years in good health? And another 10 years. And
this is Fausto, eh?
No, so this is what it is meant by immortality, of the ability to extend life indefinitely. Now, how serious is it? Well, in the Middle Ages, death was considered to be a metaphysical phenomenon. Why do people die? Because God said so. Why do people die? Because suddenly the angel of death appears in a black hood with this scythe in his hand and taps you on the shoulder and says, come, and you have to come. And that's it. Scientists don't believe that. This is not how people die. People don't die because God said so. People don't die because the angel of death appears and takes them along. People always die because of some technical problem. The heart stops pumping blood. The kidneys stop functioning because of some infection. There is cancer spreading in the lungs. This is why people die. It's all technical problems. And according to science, at least in theory, every technical problem has a technical solution. Maybe we don't know it yet. Maybe it's very difficult. But there is, in theory, a technical solution. So the priests are increasingly replaced by engineers. The engineers are taking over. And more people saying, we don't need to wait for God or for the Messiah for the second coming of Christ in order to overcome death. A couple of geeks in a laboratory can do it, if you give them enough money and enough time. And it may sound fantastic or ridiculous, but more and more people in places like Silicon Valley are taking this extremely seriously. One of the hottest topics of discussion in Silicon Valley today is immortality. Google has a sub-company whose stated aim is to solve the problem of death. We've solved search, next thing we'll solve death.
Poses el teu ADN en un disc dur o en comptes de la nevera com feia Walt Disney? No. El teu ADN en un disc dur, per exemple.
There are two main ways in which they think about doing it. One way is by biological engineering, starting to tweak with the DNA, starting to find ways to rejuvenate organs. I mean, not all organisms die or grow old. There are some, certainly in the single cellular organisms, but they don't die. I mean, death is not necessarily a part of all life. So this is the first way, to find a way to manipulate the organic body in such a way as to rejuvenate it or to postpone death indefinitely. The other way is to go completely beyond organic existence. For 4 billion years, all of life was confined to the organic realm. You are a bacteria, you're a dinosaur, you're a tomato, you're a person, a human being, doesn't matter, you're made of organic stuff. Now, people in Google, in Apple, in these places, they come and say, no, why should life be confined to the organic realm? We can start creating life, inorganic life, life based on silicon and electricity, not based on carbon and biochemistry. Now, whether this can succeed or not, I don't know. You spoke about mathematics earlier, so I would say that their argument, in the end, is mathematical. What they say is that, in the end, life is an algorithm. At present, the algorithm of a human being is manifested in carbon and biochemistry. But as long as the mathematics remain the same, it can work, the algorithm can work manifested in silicon and electricity. And there is no reason to think that there are different mathematics to silicon and to carbon. So they have these visions of creating inorganic life, of uploading human consciousness into a computer. Now, I'm not an expert in the field. I don't know whether this can succeed or not. My own impression is that this is not going to happen in the next 40 or 50 years. So people alive today, most of them, it's going to be a big disappointment to be in one of the last generations to die. But in a century or two, I think that given 100 or 200 years, this idea of overcoming old age and death has a good chance of passing from the realm of science fiction and fantasy to the realm of science, which will create, of course, many new problems, as you said. I mean, throughout history, death was the great equalizer. Everybody had to die in the end. Like, even the poor peasants, they looked at the kings and the dukes and the popes, and they consoled themselves, thinking, okay, they have it good now, but in the end, this king is going to die just like me. So at least death is equal. Now, just imagine a world in which the poor continue to die, but the rich don't die. They have the money to buy all these new rejuvenation treatments or to upload their consciousness to a cloud. And they go on living young and beautiful forever, whereas the poor people die. What will be the social consequences is a big question.
Estava pensant que, de fet, no hi ha cap llei que obligui a morir. I, de fet, les bactèries són eternes, en un cert sentit, no? La mort és un invent del sexe, i pel que estic veient, si la immortalitat serà sense sexe, perquè el sexe inorgànic serà... Bueno, vostès mateixos decideixen. Molt bé. Penso que hem arribat al final de l'hora, però m'agradaria acabar amb una idea. Bé, s'han de llegir el llibre, de veritat, és una recomanació intensa i sincera. S'ho passaran molt bé, però volia fer una metàfora amb això, i és que si imaginem ara que tothom compra el llibre, tothom llegeix el llibre, tothom assimila el llibre, tothom comprèn el llibre, tothom vol dir tot el planeta. Llavors tindrem un problema amb la mateixa teoria, perquè serem tots escèptics, no tindrem mites i no trobarem la manera de comunicar-nos entre nosaltres. Però bueno, això no vol dir que no llegeixem el llibre. És un llibre magnífic que ens donarà molt per pensar. Yuval, moltíssimes gràcies, tot a rapar, i ens veiem en un altre moment. Gràcies.
Thank you.